second episode of Ask an Expert. We are doing a double header this week. We were enthusiastic to get Jon on to do another member video review. So we thought, why not do this on a Thursday this week? And we have some great videos in the queue. But before we jump into the videos, Jon, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I am great. Thanks for having me. I always like doing these. And honestly, any excuse to be inside in Florida right now is welcomed.
Yeah, I like about 40 minutes ago was walking home from the subway, and I'm in Brooklyn, and I got absolutely nailed by basically a flood. By the time I made it to my apartment, I was head to toe soaking wet. So, but honestly, it was nicer than walking through the extreme heat that we've been experiencing, which is saying a lot considering I can't even tell you how soaked I was.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you made it back
Made
in
it.
one piece and you didn't drown. So that's good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think everybody's hot right now everywhere.
Yeah, eesh. Well, hopefully the heat breaks soon and we can all enjoy the rest of summer in a more mild temperature.
Let's
But
hope.
I'm sure people are now annoyed by how much we're talking about the weather.
Well, I mean, it's fair right now.
It's relevant. Actually, what do you do for your horses when it's so hot?
So we try to start a little early, but honestly, with the humidity here, it's almost not better in the morning anyway. But we try to start early. We cut the ride short. We don't do any hacking when we're done with the ride. I just take them immediately back to the barn and put them in the wash stall and start hosing them. I've been wearing less boots on the horses because it's so hot. I think, you put boots on so that they don't interfere. But if I'm not going to be doing any lateral work, or it's honestly sometimes it's been so unbearable. I've just been leaving their legs bare. And I think I said to Trinity, my working student today, I'm like, I'm going to not put boots on and I'll probably regret it because they'll cut their leg on something. But I'd say that's the biggest thing I've been doing is cutting the ride short and not wearing boots or bandages.
Yeah. Do you have any horses that I had a horse in Ocala that had the issue where she stopped sweating? Have you experienced that with any of yours?
We have one on the farm and we try to do him first. We try to do it quickly. He sees an acupuncturist, which we just started. He is on various supplements to try to help, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, usually with marginal success. But yeah, when they stop sweating, it's a problem. And we've had a couple in the past that we've just said, we can't get this right. And we ship it north and just send it to a different location, either for the season or for good. Cause it's just not fair if they don't sweat.
Yeah, totally. I remember when I had her, I was riding at like 5 a.m.
Yep.
Like it's just like the sun wasn't up and I was out there. You'll do whatever you can in order to keep them comfortable, which I stand by it.
Yep.
So video review. We've got some great ones for you tonight, Jon, as we always do. And for anybody who is attending for the first time, these are videos that were submitted by members, and you are always welcome to submit a video and ask for feedback on a specific question that you have, or just to get Jon's general feedback. And another thing worth noting is you're welcome to ask questions in the chat related to videos that aren't your own. So if Jon says something and you would like for him to clarify, or you have a follow-up question, definitely feel free to do that, and I will relay those questions to Jon. Without further ado, though, I'm going to jump right into our first video, which is Anna Payne, and I'll show you the video and I'll give you the background here, and I'm happy to repeat the video as well because might be necessary. So let me turn the volume on this off before that, and then give me 1 second. I'll pull the video up so you can see it, Jon.
Great.
Okay. You should be able to, can you see the video screen now?
Yep, it's coming up. There we go. Got it.
Okay. So this is Anna riding Erwin, 14-year-old, my computer just 14-year-old ex-show jumper. Anna describes herself as a recovering weenie eventer, and they're currently competing at novice with hopes of moving up to training once she finds her brave pants. At a clinic last year, Jon emphasized that Anna needed to get better at making changes at speed, specifically correcting Erwin's tendency to drop her shoulder and motorbike around turns. They've been working on it, and while Erwin still tries to drop her shoulder, Anna has become much quicker and more effective in correcting it. She's looking for any additional insight or even just a keep on keeping on if they're on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I've taught I've taught Anna a couple times on Erwin, and this is looking so much better. You can see through the turns, you're doing a way better job keeping your inside leg on, keeping her up through the turn and kind of not motorcycling like we were talking about. I really like that. Super. Right there, maybe just got a little bit falling through the right shoulder after that line on the outside there, but quickly corrected. That's actually quite nice. I wonder if I get to see Anna. I'm going to Minnesota soon. And you can see there again as we got going. So I think the big thing I'd say here, Anna, is beginning of this course, the ends of the ring, the turns were really good. And then as she gets going, Erwin starts to kind of know the plan and gets excited and gets a little scooty and gets a little faster. So don't be afraid to like reset things partway through the course so that it doesn't kind of snowball. I think you did a pretty good job managing it and maintaining it. And, you know, the reality is if sometimes you put your trainer hat on too much in a show jump round like this, and yeah, you might address the issue of her getting quicker and kind of falling through the turns, but then do you have a rail somewhere that you shouldn't have had? So I think in competition is kind of a tricky thing to do. But you look like you went in with a really good plan. I quite liked it. The first 1, 2, 3 for sure were very good. I'd say even this line here, as we're watching it again, was excellent. And then you can see she gets just a little bit quick now. The tempo starts to speed up. And so right here through this end of the ring, I think you could kind of take a little bit of a hold and say, hey, get back together and don't let it get going too much, because now coming out of this line, she just scoots, zip right there. I don't know if she was looking at the horse or the little dressage boards there, but she just scooted away a little bit. And so I would think going up that long side there along the warm up, I would want to be pushing her a little bit shoulder in off my inside leg and getting her just sitting down a little bit again, because you could see again coming down that diagonal line towards us, she kind of fell into the left side and got motorcycling around again. So I think in general, Anna, really good job, great progress from where you were. And what I appreciate about that round is you had a plan. You went in, knew what you needed to do. You accomplished it really well for about half of the course. And then the second half of the course, she maybe got a little bit quick, a little bit fast. I thought you did a very good job managing it. But one thing I'd say when you're practicing is make sure you practice at least some of the time, like jumping a full course, but you don't have to ride it as a course, if that makes sense. So you can school your way around it. So like, for example, if that was a course we were schooling at home, you jump the whole thing, but after the fifth jump, you might put a circle in. You might 20-meter circle, push her into her shoulder in, get the canter put back together, then go down that next line. And then when she scoots away from the end of the ring down that outside line going away from the camera at home, again, you might say, no, that's not going to happen. Push her in the shoulder in on a circle, sit her down, make her put herself back together, and then continue on. Obviously, that's not something you can do at the horse show, but that'd be a great way at home that you could kind of simulate that so that when you go to the horse show, she doesn't even think that it's a possibility that she could get running on you.
Jon, when let's say that this video was at home and Erwin was did scoot kind of to the right after that line, would your suggestion be that she does a circle to the right or to the left, or does
To
it
the
not
right.
matter?
To the right.
Okay.
Because she's falling right. And so you want to, now as I say to the right, it's not just boom, turn right and let her continue to fall right. It's a right circle in, shoulder in, pushing her over into the left rein. So your right leg has to get the job done. One, obviously, in that situation, I don't think she could have turned left because the ring is there. But if she was in a field, for sure she could. But no, I would turn right, push her into shoulder in, push that right hind leg up and underneath her. And, it might be 2 or 3 circles, or it might even be canter a circle, trot a circle, walk, halt, rein back, pick up, canter, continue on. Whatever it takes at home to be like, look, we're not going to just snowball and get faster and faster around here.
That makes perfect sense. I love that advice, and it's awesome to hear that you're seeing such like notable differences in
it looks great.
One. Yeah.
Looks great. Almost as good as the fjord.
Yeah, I know. Anna, you really have to submit a video Olaf if you're going to do anything. So
yeah, we need one Averoin who I love, and she's great.
Yeah.
And she is the athlete. And then we need the dad bod fjord to come on as well.
Different kind of athlete.
Yeah. More of a weightlifter.
Yeah, we need both. Okay. Next up is the one and only Keegan.
All right.
So I believe you can see that now.
Yep.
Great. So Keegan said this video is of her riding Governor Atwood about a month ago at Florida Horse Park, practicing their test for the Retired Racehorse Project. Governor Atwood is a 6-year-old thoroughbred who last raced on October 17th, 2024, and Keegan is looking for general feedback. They scored a 64% on this test, and we're happy with that for a first attempt.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd say that I really appreciate as Keegan came trotting into the ring was she had a nice connection. She hadn't yanked his head down. She just had a contact. That's where he's sort of at, obviously, in his training. And she had a really good first center line down to her halt. He maybe got a little wobbly after the halt, but it's just a nice, pleasant test. And, you watch this and you think, okay, like that should be a 64 if we can put in this sort of work. It's not really connected yet. It's not really through. It's not really sitting down yet. But for a horse that's just come off the racetrack, what it is on the aids. It's obedient. It's quiet. He naturally just tracks up in the trot, to be fair. And it's just a nice, pleasant test to watch. I really like it. And it's so common with this sort of horse that you get riders who come in and just grab a hold of their face and insist that they go round. And I've been guilty of it too at times. But I think this is just a really nice, clean, obedient test. Now in the canter there, in that transition, while it was nice and clean, he did fall into the inside. So you're going to have to watch that in that canter transition, that first corner, he doesn't fall off the rail too far, because that's a little bit of an accuracy thing and probably just, one, balance, but 2, focus on your part as the rider of really ride accurate in that canter work as well. You were so good in the trot work, and then you went to canter and you just lost the accuracy a little bit. So beware of the line you want to ride and the geometry you want to have. I think the use of the corners in the circles is pretty good. Now that circle there, I would say it started at A. So you could have been a little deeper in the first corner before A. Then you ride your circle from A back around to A. And so I'd say the second time you came through the corner before you finished your circle, you actually ended up too deep in the corner there at A. So know where your circles start and finish. And while at his stage, he doesn't have to go into a super deep corner, you do want to have there be a difference between a corner and a circle, at least a little bit, and know where they start. I felt like going into it, you didn't show a corner where you should have, and then finishing it, you showed a corner where you shouldn't have, if that makes sense. But again, I love that you can just walk on a nice soft rein there across that long diagonal, and he's quiet. I mean, that's priceless, to be honest. And again, here, as you're going, you can see he's getting more connected and rounder, which is super to see. Like, he just wants to do it. He trusts your hand. And the more you work him, the better it gets just naturally without you feeling like you've got to pull him in. So that's really nice to see. And so here we should have a little bit of a corner, which you do. So well done. And again, nice and straight. I really love how straight this horse is. Like he just trots hind end directly behind his front end. It's nice to see. It's a nice type. Yeah, just not quite as clean a transition into canter that way. But funny enough, even though the canter transition itself maybe wasn't as clean and he ran into it a little bit, which isn't uncommon on the right lead for a thoroughbred, you actually had a better corner because of it. So he was clean in the left lead canter, but fell in, and then not as clean in the right lead canter, but held a better line. So I don't know how it's scored, but I wouldn't be shocked if those two canter transitions actually had similar marks for different reasons. Little late making your turn onto the center line there. I'd say that was a rider thing, not a horse thing. You just looked like you were late to make the turn. But again, good transition down to halt, relatively square, maybe stepped a little bit out to the right, but that's being picky on a young horse. So I think in general, really nice test, pleasant to watch. Like when I ride horses like that one, where okay, it's not going to go in, it doesn't move like a warm blood. It's going to be a horse that's going to, as it goes up the level, it's going to be a cross country horse who's going to put in a nice obedient test. At the lower levels, I think you want to go in there and just ride as accurately as you can. Know right where you are all the time. Try to clean up those two canter transitions for different reasons. Left lead, don't let them fall in. Right lead, just try to get it a little sharper. So lots of trot to canter transitions on the right, and hold your line on the left lead transition. Make sure you're looking for that last center line sooner. You were late to get that done. And then be accurate in those circles. Just know where they start and where they finish, but remember how you're supposed to ride them because of that. Because I think you gave up maybe a mark or two here or there just on a couple of little accuracy things. But that said, I thought it was really nice. I like the horse. He's cute, super, super obedient. And I think, like, honestly, with a horse like that, what you want to do is go in and have a test that is relaxing and that almost nobody notices the test, if that makes sense. Because if they notice the test on a horse like him, it's probably going to be because he exploded and was naughty. And if he goes in and he's just obedient, they're going to be like, oh, look, there's a cute little horse. All right, that's fine. Which isn't to say he can't be a great dressage horse, but at the stage he's at, what's so important is that he's just obedient and just goes in and does his job. And it looks like he wants to be that guy. So I'd be excited about him.
He seems really, really nice.
Yeah.
That's an awesome one. Submit more videos of him, Keegan. I want to see more of him. Cool. So our next one is Erin. Let me pull her up. Can you see her?
Yep. Got her.
Great. So this was Erin and her horse's first time going starter together, and she was very nervous. She knows she needs to work on making sure she's on the correct lead, but she's specifically wondering whether she's giving enough of a release over fences. Her trainer has been helping her move away from the hunter perch, but Erin worries she might be too restricted before or over the jumps. She'd love any advice on how to improve and continue gaining confidence with her horse. And a quick PS to Jon, Erin has been doing his starter fitness program and says it's been great for both her and her horse.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Okay, so yeah, like there, obviously your second jump, you did get a little left behind, but I don't think that was a release thing as much as a timing thing where you just lost your timing and got left behind. And if you're going to lose your timing, that's the way to do it, is sit back and let the horse sort it out. But I think just generally speaking, over the first few jumps that I see, no, I don't think you're restricting your horse's jump with your hands. I think you're probably a very naturally sympathetic rider coming from the horse show world. And so you're worried about that. When your timing is right, you're very good with your hands, I would say, and your position is excellent. When you miss your timing and you get a little bit left behind, which I've only seen at the one jump, then you caught him in the mouth there, and you could be a little better letting your fingers open and the rein slip through. But that said, if you do that too much in the show jumping, things can get out of control very quickly because they come at you so fast. And, yes, I see where you've had a couple of wrong leads, but I think you're actually doing a pretty darn good job of addressing it, right? Like you're making the changes where and when you can. That is not a big ring. That is things coming at you very quickly in that ring. And so I think the concerns you raise are great concerns, which is that you want to be sympathetic with your hand. You don't want to catch your horse in the mouth. I don't feel like I saw that. As the fences get bigger, sure, maybe if you don't adjust the position a little bit as the fences go up, that could become an issue. But coming from the horse show world, which is where I learned to compete as well, for sure the tendency is you want that big crest release, big loop in the rein, and that's all well and good, but it does really affect your balance, which then affects your horse's balance. So it sounds like you're with a very good coach who is trying to address that bad habit. And from what I saw in that video, I think you have addressed that bad habit pretty nicely. So I would say kind of stay on it. There's a couple little exercises you can do to help you with your hands. One of them is you actually, it's a little bit, well, okay. So one of them is, first of all, with a driving rein. So the reins are going to come out of your hands the other way. So your reins will come, here we go. So I can see this. Your reins will come out this way towards the horse's mouth. Okay. Some people call it riding French or driving rein, and that will help you get the feel of the horse pulling your hand over the jump. The other one is, which you'd want to do with an instructor for sure who was comfortable with it, is if you take the reins and flip them over so they're under the horse's neck. So the buckle is not over top of the horse's neck, but they're under the horse's neck. Then when the horse jumps and its neck pulls down into that buckle of the rein, it is going to pull your hands forward. Okay. Now, the danger with that is that if you drop your reins are now hanging between your horse's legs. So to help with that, what I do is I take a piece of binder twine and I tie it to each side of the rein in front of where my hands are, or my students' hands would be. Fairly short, right? So it's not going to be some big long piece of binder twine, so that if you drop the reins, the binder twine catches the reins and then you can just reach down and grab them. That's a little bit more of an advanced exercise. I wouldn't recommend doing it on your own, and I certainly wouldn't recommend doing it without the blessing of your coach, but it is one that really probably helps more than any other exercise with getting you to understand how to get that automatic release in your hands following your horse's mouth. It is, it has fixed a lot of people's hands, and it also gets them to hold snug under their reins if they have sloppy hands, because they're usually terrified to drop their reins. Those are two good little tricks that you can play with to help if you have hands that pull in the air. That said, I think the second option for you probably isn't necessary at this point, because you're very aware of that problem and trying to address it yourself. So I probably would play around a little bit with the driving rein or the French rein. And if as the jumps get bigger, you find that this becomes a real problem, then you could try the reins under the neck thing. But again, make sure you have the little safety strap from one rein to the other rein so that you don't get the reins between your horse's legs, because that really sucks. I've had it happen one time and I grabbed the reins just in time, but it can be a little bit terrifying as you're getting cantered off with, trying not to alarm your horse. So that's the two things that I would do to work on it. But in general, I think you're doing a great job. Also, I'm a big fan of teal, so I really liked your shirt as you were going around the ring. I'm a big fan. I am a Green Bay Packer fan, but I kind of like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are near here, simply because of their teal colors. So I liked that a lot.
I retweet liking the shirt. I also, wherever you are riding is so gorgeous. Did you
No
happen
kidding.
to
Where is
notice
that?
the background? I don't know. Aaron, you need to tell us where you're riding. It's like absolutely unreal, the background of that arena. So pretty. Okay, so let's move on to Lee. You can see Lee, John.
Yes. Teal.
More teal.
Love
She
it.
heard you. Okay, so Lee said this is Sven, show name Just Go With It. He's freshly off the track after 32 races and is currently 8 years old. This video shows his first canter off the track and his first jumps. Lee is focusing on staying soft in her hand while Sven figures everything out and has been using the neck strap to avoid catching him in the mouth. The main goal right now is forward and straight. She's looking for general impressions, but also wants to know if John has any favorite bits for mouthy horses. Sven likes to play mouth games and does odd things with his head. So far, she's tried a soft rubber bocker and a double jointed full cheek. He still needs help turning, and she felt the full cheek was better since the others seemed like they could slide into his mouth during all the chewing and shoulder bulldozing. It's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as Sven himself goes, I really like what you're doing with him. The trot tempo wants to get a little bit quick, so you're doing a good job just trying to keep that tempo slow. I think use your post to help with that. What a good boy. Look at him go. Use your post to help with that tempo as best you can. I love how small you're keeping things with your little cavalettis and just helping him figure it out. The mouth thing is tricky. So I'm embarrassed to say this because I was telling Kinsey how great my internet was, but it broke up a little bit when you were telling me the bits that she had been trying.
Do you want me to read? Okay, so she
Just that
said
part of it.
she's tried a soft rubber bocker. Is that right? Bocker?
I don't know
I
what a
don't know.
bocker is, but okay,
Okay,
soft
I'm
rubber
probably
bit.
just saying it wrong. And a double jointed full
A
cheek.
boucher. A boucher.
Boucher.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
And a double jointed full cheek. He still needs help turning, and she felt the full cheek was better since the others seemed like they could slide into his mouth during all the chewing and shoulder bulldozing.
Okay, got it. Okay, so I love the full cheek idea. You could also do a D ring. I am a big fan of the Springer Duo bits. I think they're really good. They are just a straight, soft rubber mouthpiece. Um, and in the end, probably for a lot of horses, end up not being quite enough bit. But as long as you don't think he's going to run off with you, which he doesn't look like he's the sort, I think those are really nice bits to have. The other thing I would say is, and I can't tell from this video, but just thinking young horses in general, don't put the noseband on terribly tight. Keep that noseband really loose, and that's gonna help you keep his mouth soft, and then you can snug it up later on. I think as a young professional, I made nosebands way too tight, thinking that it made the horses be obedient, and I think it just actually made them tight and kind of cross their jaw and brace their jaw against the nosebands. So I would go very loose. In fact, sometimes I just take them off altogether, and I think that is a big help. So I would think about that. One thing I just want to take from this video back to our last one about the hands is I should have mentioned a neck strap. Like that's a great tool as well. It gives you a target for your hands. I will be honest, I don't use them enough because I just never used them, and I probably should more for my students. But going back to like how do you address your hands, neck straps are great for that. So I'll add that one probably somewhere between riding with a French rein and throwing your reins out in front of you like an idiot. So put that neck strap on for that one as well. In general, I think you're doing all the right stuff with this horse. I would be just as quiet and patient with your hands as you can be. I know it can get a little frustrating with these young horses when they're whipping their heads all over the place. If he's just bonking his head around, just keep your hands still, which it looks like you're doing pretty nicely, and just be patient with it. If it ends up getting to where you're afraid that he's going to whack you in the face, which I've had happen, you can throw a running martingale on. Just make sure it's not too tight, and sit up for sure. Keep your face away just in case he tends to whip his head around on you. But I think it looks, I mean, it's an attractive horse. I would say he does want to get just a little bit quick in his trot. So make sure you really address that trot tempo. The canter looks like it's going to be very nice. Did I freeze? Oh, internet. Can you hear me now? Is that me? This would be amazing if it wasn't me, but I feel like it could be. Let's see. Well, I don't know. We've lost Kinsey. I don't know if that's me and you guys can still hear me, or if it was Kinsey. I am really like jumpy around though on this screen. Ah, it's not me. I am very digitally and jumpy, but I am still here, and I'm not sure if anybody else is still here. But hopefully we can get Kinsey back on here shortly and keep rolling. That would be nice. Kinsey is back. We're almost there. I'm so excited. It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. After all the crap that we give you for your internet.
I do have my screen is jumping. I don't know if that's just my video.
I think it still might be my issue. We are getting like terrible thunderstorms. I told you I got soaked. We're getting terrible thunderstorms here, so maybe that's causing it.
This honestly has made my day that it wasn't me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Honestly, for once. If we couldn't get through this without internet issues, it wouldn't be a Hanging with Jon session without some internet issues. Okay. Do you?
Uh-oh.
Oh
boy. Okay, wait. No, you're gone. Maybe you'll be back. We're gonna patiently await you, Kinsey.
No.
Oh, wait, I can hear you. No.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh.
I can't see you. You could describe the video to me, and then I could tell you what I thought.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Now I can. Okay. There
we go. I'm gonna keep my video off. Maybe that'll help.
Okay.
Okay. I am going to share my screen.
This doesn't happen with anybody else. It's just me. I feel special. Uh-oh. Now I can't hear you again. Let's see what we can do if we can get Kinsey back. She is working on it diligently. I'm sure there are thousands of you watching, patiently awaiting. I wish that I had something super entertaining to say. But everything is scripted. It's not. This is the joy of the internet. We're worried about AI taking over, but we can't even get the internet to work properly. So I think we're okay for a little while. Oh,
Can you see me, John?
I can see you.
Okay, I'm on my phone now.
All right.
Okay, I am going to text you this video.
Okay.
Let me do that.
I am still like, it's funny. This video is like jumping mine.
I know. I think it has to be because of me.
If you say so. You're going to have so much editing to do. Okay, I got bubbles.
Okay. I apologize, everyone. This is unusual. We don't usually get big thunderstorms like this in New York.
I got it. I got the video.
Okay. For anyone watching, I'll put the video in the Facebook feed chat as soon as I have enough internet to do so.
My wife is now yelling for dogs in the background. Hey, Jen, I love you, but we're still doing this. Nope. Okay. And now I've lost Kinsey again.
You can't. You
Oh,
lost
I hear
me?
you now. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay. Do you have the video of Ashley?
I've got the video. I'm watching. It is a beautiful chestnut horse.
Okay, so
Cantering in the field. It looks very nice. Tell me the deal.
yeah. So for Ashley, she said this is her this is ride 20 on her 4-year-old Oldenburg. He's 50% blood, or she's 50% blood. Her name is Ellie. She started her entirely by herself with hope she wants to do some low-level eventing. Her big question is, what would Jon say is the next step? Now that they walk, trot, and canter, have a good whoa, okay, maybe too good, back up, and the steering improves every ride. Where should we go from there?
How old again?
4.
Okay. Ride number 20. Okay. So I think in general, it's really lovely, pleasant. We've just had a really nice group of horses this week coming into the videos because they're all just look like horses I would enjoy riding, quite honestly. You do a good job with your hands. And like you said, the steering is all there. So I think the next thing starts to become we want to start to establish a little more contact with your horse's mouth so that she starts to understand that she can go forward to a solid rein or a steady rein with a contact, probably like the weight of a can of soda in each hand or so is what you're trying to build towards, so that she starts being able to go a little bit more connected, a little bit more round and start to address that top line. So one way you can do that is by working on a circle to push a little bit of bend around your inside leg. But I'd be careful you don't just kind of stuck doing that. I think adding in some transitions is going to help tremendously so that, you had a lovely trot, you had a lovely canter. I would love to see, I'm just going to watch again as I'm talking to you guys here. I would love to see you trotting around and then walk a few steps and then trot and then walk and then some changes of direction, starting to ride some patterns rather than, just sort of big loops around your field. Can you ride patterns? Can you ride up the center line? Can you ride a diagonal? Can you ride a transition to halt? Can you go trot to canter and then back canter to trot and then back to canter again, so that she starts listening for you as the rider and not just sort of going into a little bit of autopilot, which as going into 20 rides, you kind of want with these horses where they're just, you put them into trot, they stay in trot, you put them into canter, they stay in canter, and they're quiet and obedient. I would start asking her things, asking her to do different transitions, asking her to change direction, asking her to go fast, asking her to go slow, so that she starts being able to, like I said, be able to go from your leg into your hand with an established contact. You'd have a very good hand. It's very soft and sympathetic, but it's almost in a way not there. There's a bit of a loop in the rein, which is what it should have been to this point. But as you ask about the next thing, I think you want to be able to put your leg on and ride her into a frame a little bit more, into a contact without cranking and pulling her in, if that makes sense. So those are the things that I would be working on, is lots of transitions, changes of direction, go fast, go slow, and start to try to establish a contact, a connection with the rein a little bit more.
That's awesome. Well, one thing I have, I mean, just since starting Ride IQ, nothing has been more apparent to me than I have never done enough transitions. It is wild how that just seems to be the answer to everyone's problems. More transitions.
Yeah, well, and I think it is kind of the secret sauce. It is the magic that can put it all together and make it happen, right? You do those transitions. Now all of a sudden your horses are listening to you as the rider and not sort of going on autopilot or guessing their way around. If you start asking them to do things, then they pay attention, right? Like, my favorite hobby is to sit on the couch and zone out and just stare at the television. That's what I do to relax, because otherwise I'm out riding horses. And so when Jen or Caden come in and start talking to me, at first I'm like trying to kind of watch TV and kind of half paying attention. And then if they, well, to be fair, if they're annoyed with me, they'll usually just walk away and be like, great, he's not listening again. But if they need my attention, they usually either stand in between me and the television set and start talking to me, or they'll just sit down and start talking to me to where I'm like, oh, fine. And then I turn and I pay attention and I have a conversation with them that is like a two-way conversation, and I start expecting feedback. But if they just let me coast and just stare at the television and don't really ask me too much, then every time they do ask me a question, it takes 2-3 times for them to ask me for me to respond. I have 2 Kinseys now. This is great. Okay. Takes 2 or 3 times for them to ask me a question before I respond, because I'm busy staring at the TV. And that's a little bit what happens with horses in general, is they just trot around the ring and they just kind of zone out. And then we ask them a question and we're like, well, why doesn't Sparky listen to me? Well, because you haven't asked him anything in 5 minutes. You've just been trotting a circle. If you talk to him regularly, then he starts expecting a two-way conversation with you, and you do have to be the one to initiate it. But then they start paying attention, and that's really, it's actually, I just came up with that. It's an incredibly good analogy. That's that's the way I would think about it when you're talking about transitions, whether it's a young horse or an upper level horse. Is if you let them zone out and watch Sports Center, they are not going to pay attention. You're going to have to ask them every question 3 times.
It makes perfect sense. And I think it's a really great analogy. So you can put that one in your toolbox for later use. Okay, just for the sake of making sure that everybody attending is able to see quickly a bit of Ashley's clip, I am going to try to show it.
Awesome. I'll try to say new things that are interesting.
And hopefully my computer doesn't completely die again. Okay.
Here we go.
There we are. We have Ashley.
Ashley, by the way, since this is apparently outfit week, you have done an excellent job matching your, I think the rust, which I love rust color breeches, to your saddle pad. I have tried convincing Jen that I'm going to bring rust back. She has not allowed me to wear them yet, but we have a bunch of students who wear them, and I love them. They're really good looking pants. It's a good job. Okay, so you can see here as you canter around, you do have a contact. There is a feel here, but I think in general, We can do those transitions. We can get a little better contact with her mouth as you go forward, trying to get her just a little bit more bent around your inside leg, a little spiral in, spiral out stuff. And it doesn't have to be on a young horse that we're spiraling into a 10-meter circle out to a 20-meter circle. It can be we spiral into a little bit of a smaller circle, and then we yield out and spiral out to a little bit of a bigger circle. Again, in general, just nice, pleasant to watch here. Looks super obedient. I like the halt. I mean, look at, we nailed the halt, and good job petting your horse. I need to work on halts more on all of mine because none of them stand well like that. They all dance around. And we even back up a little bit, which is pretty impressive. I got to teach that to all of my horses sooner too. Well done. Good job. It's all right. Got a few steps. I don't mind that at all. Go the other way. Good work.
John,
All
quick
right.
question for you.
Yes.
Are you, with the younger horses, are you a fan of like the half seat and the canter? Is that something that you recommend generally?
It a little bit depends on the horse. I think in general, if you have a good seat, if you have a reasonably good seat, I think sitting down into them actually is usually more helpful as long as it's not sending them and making them run. It's just not a, and again, not in a grinding way, but I personally, I feel like most horses, if I can just relax, keep my shoulder in front of my hips, down into my heel, and I can just lower my seat down in the saddle softly, that usually helps most horses sort of come through and soften their back. So, generally speaking, no, I think with like baby horses, maybe, but it's a pretty rare horse, and I ride some rocket ships. It's a pretty rare horse that doesn't allow me to sit down into them and sort of get their back. Now, I'm not talking like when I'm in a jump saddle that I'm going to sit down um, into them like I'm in a dressage saddle or I'm in a Western saddle. But in general, I like to be softly down into the saddle. I always say, and I think it's the way it works. You have 3 sitting bones. You have your 2 seat bones and your pubic bone that you sit on. And if I'm in a dressage saddle, I want to be centered on all 3. If I'm in a jump saddle, I probably want to have maybe 60% of my weight into my pubic bone and 40% into my seat bones. And, what percentage that is depends a little bit on the horse. And what I say is 60% would be different than what you would say is 60%. But the point being that hip angle for dressage, you're here. And for show jumping, you're going to be a little bit more here. For cross country, you're probably going to be even a little bit more here with your tail out behind you and a little bit more on your pubic bone so that you can get into the back seat and then sort of curl into your seat bones as needed. But no, in general, I like to sit down into them. And again, even on the more thoroughbred types, the more blood horses, I find they actually take that pretty nicely.
Got it. Awesome. Well, John, thank you for sticking with me through the internet shenanigans.
I
I
mean, I
appreciate
feel
that.
like I was due.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully on the next one, both of us can have great internet. It's something to aspire to, and I think we'll get there. But everyone who is still sticking around and watching, thank you for your patience. And I'm glad that we were able to close out tonight strong with that video from Ashley. And everybody who submitted videos, you guys are awesome. We have so much respect and putting yourself out there, and you all look so good. So really just wonderful to see everybody doing so well, and excited to see updates on the next one. But John, as always, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with all of us.
All right. Well, Kinsey, thank you. And stay inside. Don't get rained on anymore.
Yeah, I'm
And
inside for the rest of the day. Let's be honest. I'm not going
all right,
out there.
good
Uh,
call.
and you stay cool out there.
Thank you. I'll try. I'm staying inside as well.
Perfect deal. Okay. Well, have a great evening, everyone. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.